Hi guys, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing the next video in my palette roulette series in which I review a palette. I review a palette that is in my collection that might also be in your collection. Not necessarily the newest, grandest thing on the market, but I like to use what I have and not necessarily be spending all the time, even though my hauls say different. And I hope that you are into it. I hope that you like it, and I hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. I would love to welcome you into my YouTube family. Today we're going to be reviewing some Lime Crime palettes, so I'm so excited to walk you through my thoughts and opinions and feelings and what I experienced while using these palettes over the last week. With that said, for those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things colorful, high-end beauty and self-care. I am out here doing what soothes my soul and trying to help you do what soothes your soul as well. I work in the beauty industry as well as being here on YouTube, so I am inundated with beauty all day, every day, and I like to bring you a little bit of that product knowledge that I am getting with my position in the beauty industry, and part of that is doing these reviews here on the YouTube channel. I do a little bit of reviews. I'm here every Monday doing one of these. I also have, like, you know, of course, the regular, the empties videos that you're going to get some reviews in, but I also just love to talk about makeup. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please keep watching. I would love to have you along for this crazy ride of ours and welcome you into my YouTube fam. And yeah, let's roll into these palettes. That's what we're here for, right? Alright guys, today we are reviewing some Lime Crime palettes. I do have two of the Venus family palettes for you. One is the Venus Immortalis palette, and then this one is the Prelude Chroma palette. So this one is about their Venus line, right? They have a Venus palette, a Venus XL. It's really like kind of grungy, kind of romantic, kind of a little bit of everything, and it was a big hit out on the market. Lime Crime is not above controversy. Like, there's a ton of controversy out there about their customer service, how they handle certain situations, and I do know that prior to these coming out, there was a change in management, and they seem to be doing a whole lot better, and I'm not here to get into the controversy. I just like to kind of give a little bit of a brand history when I do these videos, if I have it out there. For the longest time, Lime Crime was a brand that I did want to try, but I was terrified to try them, being here on the YouTube space. Like, you always get a lot of flack when you're utilizing products that are from brands that have a lot of stuff going on in the background. Like I said earlier, I'm just here for the makeup. I like to talk about makeup. That is it. So I got to a point where, like, I can't care anymore. But also, they came out with these cute little 8-pan palettes, and I was like, I have to have some. I have to try them, finally. So I do have two of them, so we're kind of going to review them together because they are the same formulas, but also I want to talk about each one of them separately. But together, each one of these palettes costs $38. And each one of these palettes has 8 shadows in it with 0.482 ounces of product total, or 0.054 ounces of product per pan. That's a decent size eyeshadow. It's a full size eyeshadow. It's not like these are mini palettes, and they're definitely not. They're a good size palette, so you're getting your money's worth, I think. That a lot of that goes into also the thought process behind how each one of these shadows performed. I still think $38 is a little bit spendy if you ask me, but I think it ranks right up there with what ABH would charge, or yeah, I mean, Natasha Denona charges $25 for a 5-pan, so I would have to assume if she did an 8-pan, it would be probably somewhere around 40 bucks. So I do think that they're reasonably priced because they sit on the higher end of the spectrum. Each one of them also has 4 different formulas in it, so you're going to have some matte shadows, you're going to have some foiled shadows, some shimmer shadows, and then you're going to have some iridescent like toppers in each one of these palettes. As far as the Lime Crime Venus Immortalis goes, this guy here, this one has a 4.8 star ranking on the Lime Crime website, which I can appreciate. At least it's not a 5-star ranking. However, there were no 1-star ratings on this. I'm not necessarily sure that that's inaccurate. Honestly, I would never think of this as a 1-star palette. That is 315 reviews that make up that 4.8 star. So I do think it's probably fair. This one has a 4.7 star rating on it, and it has 169 reviews making up that. I do also think that that's fair considering it is the newer of the two. I do think that it just hasn't had the time out there for people to like really get on the, you know, website and review it in the way that they want to review it. But also this one is a color story that is a little more, you know, difficult maybe for some people. So they just don't get the color story. So there's that. Let's talk a little bit about the Immortalis. So the Immortalis is a gray scale, grungy, smoky palette. And it's very cool toned. It's got the 4 different finishes in it, and I'll go through each one of the finishes or each one of the shadows in a minute. But this is what the palette looks like. It's got this beautiful like Venus on it. Venus is their goddess. I think that's what it says. These shadows represent their goddess Venus is what was on the website. So that is their goddess Venus. This is what this looks like. And then the back of it does have all the information about the brand, where to find it, the shadows in here. It's super fine print. So like legit, if you can read it, good on you, because I definitely cannot. I definitely cannot even see what the shelf life on this is because I'm blind as a bat. I do think it reads 12 months. They are cruelty free. That is amazing sauce. On the inside of the palette, we're looking at a really nice mirror, and I still have the like plastic on it, but it's also like detailed with filigree around it. And then the palette looks like this. And I will dig into the shades. I promise you I will swatch each one of these, but isn't this beautiful? It is a beautiful, just cool toned, smoky, gorgeous palette. This one does have 4 mattes, 2 foils, 1 shimmer, 1 iridescent. This one is considered the shimmer, and it glows in the dark, y'all. This is a crazy sauce, glows in the dark. Like, I thought I was seeing things when I did my makeup the other day, and I wasn't. I'm gonna see if I can get a picture, because I didn't take a picture the other day, but I'm gonna see if I can get a picture before I post this video so I can put the picture in the video. I was like, I mean, it's the simple things in life sometimes. This one glows in the dark. That is the coolest thing. So that is this one. And then this one, Prelude, looks like this. And it has like this beautiful like laying cherub on there. It is surrounded by cherubs. And this is supposed to be inspired by the majestic waves that were created by the goddess Venus. There again are, you know, 4 finishes, same as the other palette. And this, I think the color story in this is just so poetic. I don't know. I think of it just a lot, like when I think of this, I definitely feel like Renaissance vibes or like poetic vibes, like poetry. Like that's what it reminds me of. It's just, I don't know where I get that even. But also I kept the, you know, thing on here. And this says, the prelude to our goddess, born from the god of the sky, cast at sea, triumphantly rising from the sea foam to rule over love and beauty. She created monumental waves filled with fantasy. Master your visionary mood and submerge into prelude. I think that's where the whole like poetry mindset comes from when looking at this palette. These shadows are just so pretty, so beautiful, so poetic, so sea foamy. I mean, truly the epitome of that I just read to you. I think that it's just so pretty. And I think that when you look at them together, they perfectly pair with each other. And I don't think I could have picked 2 better palettes in this line to go together. So Lime Crime announced that they were not going to do any more of the Venus palettes, you know, the regular Venus, Venus XL, and shortly after started coming out with these 8-pan palettes. So I think it was to appease everybody on the beauty sphere, because like there was an uproar when they decided that they weren't doing that. So a little bit about these shadows. These shadows are so nice. I did not worry about pigmentation. I did not worry about them looking differently from pan to eye. They feel super silky in the pan. Even the foiled shadows or the shimmer shadows, they all feel really like creamy and bouncy, almost that of like a Super Shock shadow from ColourPop, but not quite as wet, if that makes any sense. Not wet at all, but the foils also do not require wetness in order to perform really well. What is on my eye today, I have two different, I have one shimmer and one foil on my eye today on the lid space, and neither one of them required wetness to perform well. So this is all dry on my eye. They're so pigmented. The black, the black is crazy. Like when I say a smidge, like a pebble of sand will do you with this black shade, I am not exaggerating. It is crazy, crazy black. And like literally it would probably take you years to pan one of these shadows, because you just don't need a lot. You just don't need a lot to make them work. And the blendability is just fantastic. The one thing I would say is I do have the dark brown on my eyes today, and I think it looks a little rosy. So it is in the Venus palette. It is this guy here. It does look a little bit rosy, which kind of threw me off balance. Like I was looking for a more neutral, like darker, like smokier, gold would go with it kind of eye, and I feel like it doesn't look that way because the brown showed up a little bit more rosy than I anticipated it would. But I think it goes well with the rest of the colors in this palette. And I think that you can see that I mixed it with the Prelude palette. None of the lid colors are in this palette on my eyes. So I don't know why it shows up a little more rosy. I did have it in another look and it definitely performed like a brown, and maybe it's because I have it paired with the golds that it looks a little more rosy, but that would be the only one that I would say I didn't get the color expectation out of it on my eye as it's shown in the pan. These shadows perform with or without a primer really, really well. I would say even without a primer, they last about as long as they last on your eye with a primer. I got a good 10 hours of wear time out of these shadows before I saw visible fading at all, if at all. I also didn't have any problems with the shimmers and the foils staying on my lid space. Sometimes with newer brands, I pay really close attention to whether like the lid space shimmer is like transferring onto my upper brow bone area or like disappearing altogether. I didn't see that at all with these shadows, not even with a eye that was not primed. So the majority of them, like I said, perform as is in pan. The majority of them also perform as mattes. So this one here is considered a shimmer, and this one here is considered an iridescent topper. And I would say that this one maybe, sure, is an iridescent topper. This one here is a shimmer, and I don't think it performed in any way, shape, or form as a shimmer would. I used it often as a matte in my eye looks. As a matter of fact, I have a like purple pink halo eye that I did. And that shade is in my crease and clear up into my brow bone. You can't tell that it's a shimmer at all. So I would say that what they consider shimmers are more like satins. The iridescent toppers are very much iridescent toppers, but that one in particular, this one, has a lot of white base to it. So you can actually pack it onto your eye look and it's very opaque white. But it performs more like a matte when you are packing it on your eye like that. On the website, it says there's zero fallout with these shadows. I will tell you there's some fallout with these shadows, specifically if you go in ham. I did go in ham with this shadow one time and this shadow one time, and did get a significant amount of fallout just along the edges of my eyes. I do my eyes first, so it's not a deal breaker for me, but I like to tell you guys that because for some people it is a deal breaker. So I cannot wait to show you guys the swatches of these. I love these palettes. Like, final thoughts, I love these palettes. I'm super happy I picked up Lime Crime. I'm super happy that I tried these out, and I am just floored by them, if I'm honest. The formula is really good. The pigmentation is really good. The blendability is really good. And even with the purples and the greens and the blacks, the blendability and the gray, the blendability is really good. And I wouldn't expect that. I struggle with cool tones a lot, and I wouldn't expect to be able to blend these shades as well as I was able to. I love these palettes. They will forever be in my collection. And every time I looked at them together, I could see multiple different eye looks. I would say on their own, you could still get a good amount of eye looks from each one of these palettes, but I think that they're the perfect partner to each other. So I would probably use them in conjunction with each other. I don't think that there might have been 2 eye looks in the ones that I have pictures of that were specific to each one of the palettes. I don't even know that that's the case because I did try, but I partnered them an awful lot. So let's go through the Lime Crime Venus Immortalis first. All right, so the first one we have here is Unseen. Unseen is a matte black. That did not swatch the way it performs on your eyes. I would just tell you that this black is crazy in an eye look. So it's a beautiful black, beautiful, just matte, no glitter, no nothing, no filler, beautiful black shade. Then we have this one here, which is called Echo, and it is a gunmetal foiled shadow. It is so, so pretty. And next to the purple in the Prelude palette, it looks very lavender. It is so gorgeous. I loved this, and it's so creamy, so creamy. I cannot tell you how surprised I was at what these feel like, because they really do literally feel like Super Shock shadows. The next one is Moth. Now this is what they consider a shimmer. I think it's more of a satin, honestly. It is like a gray, a pinky toned gray, and paired with the pink in the Prelude palette looks very lavender. It was in an eye look that I did with that purple in the Prelude palette, and I used it as a matte on my eyes. I don't really think of it as a shimmer. It doesn't really appear as a shimmer in an eye look. And then this is Marble, which is the white iridescent topper. I'm going to swatch that again over the top just so that you guys can hopefully see it. That is what that looks like. It is like a white pearl blue pink sheer topper. That's exactly what it is. I did pack this into an eye look, and it was very opaque in packing it on, but otherwise it's going to perform as a sheer shadow because that's what it was meant to be. Then we have Unveil, which is the brown in my eye look today. I don't know, you guys, that is a really deep dark brown black matte is how it's described. It looks very blackened brown on the swatch. Buffed out looks very rosy. So there's that. I mean, packed on, it does look this shade, obviously, but buffed out, it looks very rosy. Then we have this gray astounded me. So this is a gray matte, and it is called Ash. And I have never seen a gray matte perform like this gray matte does. It's so opaque and so great and so beautiful from the minute you put it on. There's no patchiness, no voiding, no anything. Like, this is an astounding gray. Astounding gray. It'll be my go-to gray anytime I'm looking for a gray for an eye look, because I just could not believe how well this performed. Then we have this one here, which is called Hail. and it is a silver foiled shadow. And it was so beautiful in the black gray smoky eye that I did. Oh, so pretty. It's super soft, super creamy, feels like a super shock. All of the foils feel like super shocks. And then we have this one here. It is called Cameo, and it is just a matte cream shade. This is a really good shade to put into the transition area of your eye look if you want to use a transition. I don't typically use a transition in this eye look today. I did use it to buff out that brown and just kind of bring the blend together. It is pretty transparent for the most part. I don't think it added anything, but I guess I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong, right? I'm not always right. All right, these are the first 4 shades from the Prelude palette, and the first one we have is this. It is Nymph, and Nymph is a like coppery, peachy, silvery foiled shadow. You guys can, I think, see that silver reflect there. It is such a beautiful shade. It was in the center of the Halo eye look that you'll see pictures of. Then we have this gold shadow, and it is called Eros. And it is a beautiful gold foil, and it is in my eye look today, and y'all know how I feel about gold. So if I'm saying a beautiful gold foil, you know, it's a good gold. It's a good gold. Okay. Next we have this one, and it is called Seafoam. And it is such a beautiful, just greeny, seafoamy, iridescent shimmer. I do think this one performs like a shimmer in an eye look without it being like crazy glittery or shimmery. Does that make sense? Like you turn your head and you can catch it on the reflect on the turn, much like a multi-chrome would do, only it's not a multi-chrome. But then we have this one, which is called Triumph, and Triumph is also considered a shimmer. It is a white silverish gold shimmer, and I mean, can you see it? Hardly. It is in my eye look though. It is the center shade in my eye look. I did pack it on, and I think that if you pack this one on, it is so impactful and just beautiful, and it partners well with so many different shadows in both of the palettes. It also works really well as a brow bone shade. I do have it in my brow bone also today. And then we have this purple, which is called Cypress, and Cypress is a just really deep purple matte, and it reminds me of like eggplant. And then we have Saturn, which is beautiful ocean blue foil. This also has like reflex of like teal and pink in it. I see when I look at it in the pan like pink and blue glitters in it, so it's got this really beautiful like almost duochromy reflect to it when you catch it on the turn, right? I don't know why this keeps happening to me, but halfway through or not halfway through, I guess I was almost all the way through the swatches, my camera died again. So I think I got all of them except for the last 2 in the Prelude palette swatched for you. So I'm going to swatch those for you really quick and talk about them. This shadow was the next shadow, the one that it cut off at. This one has the shade name of Olympia. This is just really a sheer nude, and it looks a lot different than Cameo, the beige tone, the buff out tone, the transition tone in the Venus Immortalis palette, in the way that this is more of like a peachy skin tone nude, and the Cameo shade in the Immortalis palette is more of a like yellow toned cream base tone. So this one is going to be better to buff out like say pinks and whatnot, whereas the Cameo one is going to be better to buff out like your grays and your blacks. And then the last shadow in this palette is this one, and it is called Genesis, and it doesn't swatch well. It doesn't, but this is a beautiful, beautiful shadow in an eye look. It goes really well with the like ocean blue Saturn shade that was just like 2 shadows ago. This one here, I'll swatch this one for you too next to it. It goes really well with that one. They look so, so beautiful in an eye look together. And I think that of all the shadows in this in this palette, in these two palettes, that one was the hardest one to work with. It also feels the least creamy in the pan, but it still blends like a dream, you guys. I just I couldn't believe the lack of effort that I had to put into these shadows, because y'all know purples and greens and blacks and grays, super hard to formulate and get a good one. These ones are amazing. So let's go back to the fact that these were $38 a piece. For me, whether a price point is fair or not doesn't just start with the shadows in the pan and how many pans are in the palette, but it also ends with how those perform and how they're impacting my balance, right? These performed so well that I could get a really great eye look with one or two shadows, that I could not spend 2 hours blending an eye look to get an amazing eye look. I loved these palettes. 4.8 stars for Immortalis, 4.7 stars for Prelude on the Lime Crime website. I think is fair. I think it's fair, and I would probably rank them up there myself, if not even higher. Like, and that's why I wasn't so, like, you know, topsy-turvy about the fact that there were no 1-star reviews, because I definitely don't think that there is a chance in hell that these are 1-star palettes. So I think that if anybody ranked them a 1-star, it would be just the oddest thing to me, and it would have to be about something other than how these shadows perform. These shadows in these palettes are $4.75 a piece. At $38, they're $4.75 a piece. I think that that's well under average market value for a single eyeshadow. Even your ColourPop single eyeshadows cost anywhere from, you know, $4 to $6 or $4 to $8. I don't know. I haven't been on ColourPop in forever, but you know, I think that you're getting a steal of a deal in their palettes, but the shadow pans in the palettes are smaller than their single pan eyeshadows. These are the same size as their regular single pan eyeshadows. So I don't think it's unfair. I think that I would recommend them over and over and over again. And I think these two palettes pair so beautifully together that I don't think that I could ever recommend one without the other. So with that said, I love these palettes. They will stay in my collection. Like I said, that gray will be my go-to pulling a gray shadow for the rest of eternity. Hell, that black might also be my go-to black. And I'm going to go pick a new palette. I don't know what it is yet, but I will figure it out and I will be right back. So I was going to pick one of my new palettes, but you guys haven't seen that haul yet. So I'm not going to pick one of my new palettes, but do you see newness in the background? Because two of them are peeking through right there. So the palette that I did pick for this week is this one here. This is the Ace Beauty Flare palette. You guys know that I'm kind of a fan, kind of a non-fan of Ace Beauty. Like, I know that they reformulated their one palettes, and I didn't have a whole lot of problems with their one palettes, their Paradise Collection palettes, but I do know a lot of people that did. So I also know that I didn't have a lot of problems with them, but they were very time consuming. I'm wondering if this one is the same and if they're going to reformulate all of their palettes or just that Paradise Collection. But this one is the Flare palette. And this one, you guys, when I picked it up from FabFitFun. It was on one of their edit sales and I got it for $14. And I'm glad I got it for $14. But I got it because it screamed fall to me, and I thought it would be the perfect fall tone eyeshadow palette. And I don't think I'm wrong. I think that this is going to be fun. I think that this is going to be very fall toned eye looks, and I think I'm going to enjoy playing with this over the next week. I am doing SM onboarding again this coming week. Hopefully this will be my last one for a while, because it's sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours straight for 3 days, and I just don't love it. I just don't love doing it. I love spending time with my services managers, but I don't love sitting in front of computer screens for 8 hours a day. So there's that. With that said, I will have a lot of time again to play, as long as this palette doesn't do me dirty. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that if you did, you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. It really does help our channels out here. I also hope that you liked it, or me, enough that you're considering subscribing before you go. As I said in the beginning, I would love to welcome you into my crazy life here and make you a part of our YouTube fam. I hope that 2021 is treating you all kindly. It's getting so windy outside. This is crazy. I have a gym date, so I've got to get going, and I'm just kind of bouncing all over the place. But I hope that 2021 is treating you all kindly. I hope that you and yours are well, that you're all healthy, and that you're doing the best that you can in this crazy, chaotic world that we're living in right now. And I hope that you're loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, y'all. Bye, friends.